E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Happy 4th of July. Welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Well, today we celebrate here in America our Independence Day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am, we do. And, it's really important because America has been a bright and shining light for a long time to some of the people of the world who have been oppressed, who have lived in under dictatorships and things like that. Right now, things are not going as well as it could be going in our country, but that's going to change because some of the nonsense that we see are going on in this country, you folks are aware of around the world. It's running out of wind. It really is. It's about time. In fact, it's past time, to be honest with you.
Right.
But today is a day that we give thanks because your Independence Day is every day, and that exists directly between your ears because only you can be allowed to enslave yourself.
Right.
And today we're going to be talking about freedom from worry. In fact, we're going to be covering that this week.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun because, there's a lot of things, of course, that we have, looked up to better understand what other people are talking about. But there's a lot of wisdom from our own life that we'll be sharing.
It sure is.
But first, it is National Day. National Today Day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And my son-in-law was from the Philippines, and my granddaughter is, she's part Philippine, half Philippine. And today is Filipino-American Friendship Day. And I've got to salute all the good folks from the Philippines because I've got a lot of friends that are from the Philippines, and they are just fantastic people. Donna, the thing I love about them is that they're very family oriented. Their family and friendship is very, very important. Birthdays and holidays and family days. I mean, we could all take a good lesson from them, can't we?
We really could. We really could. So, one of the interesting things that's on our national today is Jackfruit Day. And jackfruit it's an interesting fruit. I have yet to buy one, but I'm going to is when I see it and remember because I really want to try it. So this is it's a tropical fruit, and it's the national fruit of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, along with being the state fruit in India. It has a really spiky outer skin. Of course, is native to parts of South and Southeast Asia. But it is a popular meat substitute for people who are plant-based diet. And it's super, super high in vitamins and antioxidants. And it makes a really, really good addition to diets. It also, I've read, and that it, because of the properties in antioxidants and stuff, that I've done some reading on it, and it said that it helps fight cancer. So, but I know, it's used in jams and pickles and ice cream, desserts, other types of meal preps. So it can really be, it's apparently a meat-like texture when it's substituted when cooking. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it really is, because it's amazing all the different things that we have on planet Earth that have the properties in it to attack abnormal cells like cancer and arthritis and things of this nature.
Right.
And when you use those, consume those, and you drink plenty of fresh water, that's a win-win situation right there.
Right.
Normally on the 4th of July here in the United States, we think about hamburgers and hot dogs and parades and celebrations and fireworks and all that. But today is the National Barbecued Spare Ribs Day.
Yum.
Yes, ma'am.
Messy, but yum.
That's why God made napkins or paper towels,
Right.
right?
And I am not a petite eater. You know, I'm hungry and I want to eat, and I end up making a mess.
Yeah. She gnaws on it like a wolf is what she is saying.
That's right. That's
She'll
right.
wolf that right down. And you know, it's really amazing because I've had different people with their own sauces and all that make barbecue ribs and barbecue in general for that matter. But I'm telling
Right.
you, it is always good when people use their special barbecue sauce. I mean, some are maybe a little better than others, but they're all GOOD good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's also National Caesar Salad Day.
Ooh, yeah.
I love a good Caesar salad.
I do too. In fact, that's what I first started eating to get me used to eating salads, because the salads that we used to have growing up that I knew of was just lettuce and, basically French dressing on it. And it just didn't really do much for me. But Caesar salad, yeah, especially with all the goodies in there, because Evie makes salads with apple in it and walnuts in it. Oh, man. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it really enhances the flavor of it, really does. Plus, it's very good for you too.
Absolutely.
And oh yeah, I mean, I love a good Caesar salad. Today is a National Caesar Salad Day, so go out and make sure that you enjoy one. They say it was created back in 1924 by Chef Caesar Cardini, Cardini,
I
and
use that salad dressing. Cardini
really,
salad dressing. Yes, it's amazing.
is
They
it?
have a Caesar that we adore. And it's honestly, I've looked into making it myself. But
Hmm.
by the time you put everything together, it's really cost me less to buy it than to make it. And so we use
Hmm.
the Cardini Caesar salad, and they also have a really light Greek vinaigrette that we adore.
Mm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I'll tell you, it's just and also in the Philippines, it's Republic Day, celebrating their freedom, and we want to, we want to say, to those folks over there, enjoy your day of freedom. And I'm gonna leave this last one for Donna that we're going to talk about, because since she lives there in Phoenix.
We call it this almost the surface of the sun.
Mhm.
So today is National Egg Frying Day,
Sidewalk,
Sidewalk Egg Frying Day.
yeah.
So I can't remember. I saw it. I don't know if it's going to be this Friday or next Friday. It's going to be back up and hit 113.
Mm.
So yeah, it's getting up there. And our humidity looks like our monsoons came in early. So our humidity's been running between 50 and 60%, which
Mhm.
is a lot for us. Normally we're like under 10% humidity.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And that has been done. People,
Mhm.
I know people who've actually baked cookies in their car on the
Mhm.
right on the dashboard.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember I used to joke with people and tell them, when I lived out in Arizona, and even sometimes here in Texas, I said, I wouldn't say it's hot, but I saw a couple of buzzards out there frying eggs on the pavement.
right.
But ironically, believe it or not, back in 1933, there's a picture of an actor by the name of Pat Rooney Jr. attempting to fry an egg in Times Square. It shows how trendy the pastime is. He was just out there goofing around, because obviously you put a frying pan on pavement or something, you're not going to be able to fry an egg. It could be very, very hot, but I don't think you can fry an egg. Do you think you can, Donna? Or do you know?
On the sidewalk here?
Do you
Oh
think
yeah.
so?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah?
I
Mhm.
think it would.
No,
Yeah.
after the show, we'll go over to Donna's house. We'll get the frying pan, put it out there on the
I
sidewalk,
I
and
used in a frying pan. I just put that sucker straight out.
mm, she don't want to wash any dishes, is what she's
No,
saying. So
no,
just bring your paper plates, and we'll scrape it off the sidewalk and wolf it right down. When it
oh,
comes to living a life free of fear and worry, uh, that's a mindset more than anything else.
it
It,
is,
it
Jim.
really
It
is.
is.
And, today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to quote a quote by a lady by the name of Esther Hicks. And I really like this. And let me just share this with you, if I may. Let your alignment, in parentheses, with your well being be first and foremost, and let everything else be secondary. And not only will you have an eternally joyous journey, but everything you have or imagined will flow effortlessly into your experience. Now, what she is talking about there, we all have gifts and talents, we all have certain abilities. And if we open up to the universe, the energy that flows from the universe comes in to bless us with our gifts, and it opens up doors. That's why we're focused on love and not on fear or worry, because fear and worry is limited to planet Earth. And so many people think life is all about planet Earth. It isn't. It's just we're going to be here for a short time and compared to the grand scheme of things. In fact, just a flicker of a second, really, if
Right.
you live to be 100 years of age on this country or on this world. But when it comes to our energy, scientists have proven that the universe is a vibration. It's full of energy.
Oh, absolutely.
And that energy comes to us. That's where we get good ideas from. That's what opens doors for us. And, it's kind of like the old saying goes, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans.
Right.
And I share people with this, people that believe in the Bible believe in Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And Eve, prior to falling into sin, after being tempted by the serpent, Satan, she reasoned in her mind that the fruit would be delicious and would make her so wise. Now, she had not fallen into sin at this point. So fast forward to today, if I reason in my mind, or if you reason in your mind, what does that tell you? It tells you that, well, maybe we should just get out of the way and let the energy come to us. And that's why we talk about making decisions, not making decisions, and making options.
Right. Right. It occurred to me this was really interesting, Jim. And
Mhm.
as I was getting ready for the show this morning, I was thinking about freedom from worry.
Mm.
And what is one thing that people think about that makes them worry?
Mhm.
And it came to me that people think about perfection.
Yes.
And I have to be very honest that perfection, folks, is an illusion.
Amen.
It is an illusion because we could always do something a little bit better. But if we're constantly looking for perfection, it's an illusion without our grasp. Now, that's not saying that you try and strive to do better,
Mhm.
but don't beat yourself up worrying about perfection because perfection is just an illusion and it will
Mm.
absolutely never happen. It may be the most perfect thing you've done to date, right? It may be the best one,
Mhm.
but in a realm of perfection, maybe it could always be better.
Oh, yeah. Because one of the things I had to overcome personally was that I have a nature to be a perfectionist. And when you get stuck in that mode and you're trying to create something and it's not perfect, that creates stagnation in your life
Hmm.
because it's not perfect. I got to redo it. I got to do this, got to make it right, got to put it out there. Just go with the flow. It's not going to be perfect. So
Right.
what? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So what? And that's one thing that I learned. It took me a little while to work out of that because, I just kind of like, okay, it's not perfect. So what? Will the world stop turning? Will the birds quit singing? Will the sun stop shining? I
Right.
don't think so.
Well, it's just kind of like, think about when you try on shoes. I
Mhm.
think it's probably really rare that somebody has the exact same foot size on each of their feet,
Oh, they don't.
right? So, my right foot, I'm right hand dominant. And I know that my right foot is a little bit bigger than my left foot.
Hmm.
And so, depending on the style of the shoe, I don't try on the left foot first. I always try on the right foot,
The big one. Mhm.
right? Because it's a skosh wider. And so that makes all the difference. And yet, that doesn't mean that I can't walk perfectly,
Mhm.
right? It just
Yeah.
means it is what it is.
Yeah. Most people, well, everybody I've ever seen, and my father-in-law worked in the shoe business. He used to repair shoes and make do orthopedic adjustments to the shoe or additions. And everybody, one foot's a little bit bigger than the other.
Hmm.
It really is. And normally it's the left foot, and some people it's the right foot, but mostly it's the left foot. But Donna gave good advice: fit your bigger foot, because make sure that shoe fits comfortable and all that. And then the right one, and then guess what? You walk fine. There was one story that I remember, it flashed in my mind then. There was one guy had to buy two different pairs of shoes because his feet were that different. He had to buy, and I'm just going to say like a 10 and a half pair to fit his one foot, and a pair of 10s to fit his right foot, because it was just too much of a difference.
Oh,
And he
wow.
just accepted that fact,
Right.
you know. And wonder how he could kick a football, with that bigger foot.
Right. Right.
But the main thing of it is that none of us are perfect. Don't let perfection stop you. And
Right.
that quote by Esther Hicks is a wonderful quote. We're going to share some information about Esther Hicks today, because freedom from worry is one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself.
Hmm.
Esther was born in March 5th, 1948. She's still alive. She's an international speaker, channeler, and author. She has co-written 9 books, it says here, with her late husband, Jerry Hicks, and they presented numerous workshops on the law of attraction, and they appeared in the original version of the 2006 film, The Secret. But
Hmm.
they share so much information. And what I love about doing this show, Donna, we talk about someone like Esther Hicks that I've never met, don't know anything about her other than what I just shared with the folks there. Her
Right.
quote, Bill Heinrich's book, The 7 Levels of Truth. I mean, all of these things, they complement each other because they're founded in truth, they're founded in energy, and they're written with a mind of love.
Right.
And
Right.
that is so critical.
It is. And I think in understanding worry, and,
Mhm.
I have a little of my own personal expertise in that field, where I used to worry myself silly. But understanding is it, and I want to read this because it makes so much sense and says it so much better than I could.
Mhm.
Worry, that sense of insecurity,
Mhm.
unease, and fear over what negative events may happen. As unrealistic as these concerns may be, it is one of the most unpleasant emotions that you can experience as a human being. It is also one of the most common. While everyone has worried at some point, many people suffer from chronic worrying in the form of anxiety. In Australia alone, 2 million people will suffer from anxiety in any one year,
Mhm.
right? So that kind of really, it's a plague, if you will.
Mhm.
So oftentimes, Jim, we worry about every little thing that comes down the pipe. Well,
Mhm.
we worry about this, we worry about that. Well, we worry about our children. And although that these are natural, the thing is we take on worries that not need to be worried about,
Mhm. You're exactly right.
right? Because things happen as they're supposed to happen. And of
Yeah.
course, we all want our children to be safe. We all, it doesn't matter whether they're little or babes in your arms or you're pregnant or they're all grown. We still worry about our kids and want them safe. because
Sure.
that's a parental love kind of worry. But for
Hmm.
me, that isn't a debilitating worry.
Hmm.
Difference. It
Hmm.
is a parental love, but not debilitating.
Hmm.
We worry about things on a day to day basis, Jim, that can debilitate us and drop us to our knees, and then we can't get up.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
thing I want everyone to think about, and I know because I've done this myself, I worried about things that had no business being on my plate. And you know what? In a month or 2 months, I couldn't tell you what the heck I was worried about.
Hmm. That is so true. You're talking about that. It kind of came in my mind that when we see pictures or hear a song from yesteryear or something back yet, we float back into the memory lane of our life and it brings back good memories. That's because there's no worries there.
Right.
Because we know somehow or another all the worries that we were worried about then. And we all have worries in life.
Hmm.
Perfectly normal, perfectly human, but it's also perfectly wrong because it robs you of your energy. And you think about what you were worried about 5 years ago. Chances are you don't have a clue unless you were going through something very serious like an injury, illness, or something of that nature.
Right.
But yeah, I'm talking about the everyday little things that, oh goodness, I hope, the little things that pop in your mind. These
Right.
are the kind of things that block your energy and they block the ability that you are given because we all need energy to survive.
Hmm.
We know that we need food to survive for energy. We also need spiritual food from the universe for our spiritual energy.
And we need energy that comes from peace.
Yes, ma'am.
So if that means as you start your journey to
Mhm.
relinquish excess worry from your life, I would highly suggest you take time each day, whether it's 5 minutes during your busy work day, and
Mhm.
then when you get home and everything, the dust kind of settles and you go off for 20 or 30 minutes, take time for yourself to decompress. Take time to do something for you that brings you pleasure and relaxation.
Mhm.
I
You're
talked about this last week on the show. Jim, I am an avid reader. I always have been since a very, very early age, probably about 5. Um, and I stopped reading books for the longest time, and I don't know why. I stopped. And I thought, well, that's just stupid. I absolutely love reading books. And I find that when I take time to read a book, um, it brings me such peace and relaxation, right? For me, it is one of my little areas I go off into
mhm.
to decompress from everything.
Absolutely. And I'm looking here at a comment on Esther Hicks. And it says emotions are a person's guidance system. You think about that. Your emotions will carry you into the area where you live.
Right,
And that can be good or bad depending on, who you are. Because individuals, we are simply a physical extension of our non-physical self.
right.
Think about that for a moment. That's pretty unique, isn't it?
It
We
is.
we always relate to the physical because we can see, touch, and feel it. But the physical is only a extension of who we really are,
Right,
a physical extension. And if we're grumpy, if we're how can I say it? If we don't have any benevolence in our heart, we don't care about other people other than ourselves. And there's people on planet Earth, and we all know them. The only thing they're interested in is buttering their own bread, as I like to
mhm,
say. And they don't care if you have a biscuit to eat or not. That's just the way they are. But those
right,
folks there enslave themselves. They set themselves up for failure because they will never, ever, ever have enough in life.
right.
The people who really love themselves and love others and give in accordance to what they can, they're always happy.
I read something the other day
Mhm.
that's kind of right along these lines.
Okay.
And it said if you give something time or whatever and expect to be acknowledged, then you're doing business. You're
There
not
you go.
doing it from your heart.
Hmm. Yeah, just gonna say that old saying, if you're doing it for that, you've already been paid, you know.
Right?
But
Right?
if you're doing it for the right reason, you're investing in your future.
Right.
And that pays dividends, ladies and gentlemen.
It
Uh,
does.
Donna and I, as long as we've known each other, we've seen doors open for us and we've seen things come together for us. And we didn't pull any money out of our pocket, did we, Donna?
No, and guys, we've seen several doors just shut right in our face.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Didn't worry about it.
Because that was not the right path for
It,
us.
it wasn't the right door. That
Yeah.
door was not meant to stay open.
Mm-mm.
So
Not at all.
we didn't worry about it
Mm-mm.
and literally said, next opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Exactly.
N-O, N period, O period. Next opportunity.
Right. So I remember one time I sent Donna a text and she sent me back a letter. She sent me back one word in capital letters, next, N-E-X-T.
Mhm.
You remember that?
I do. I do.
But that's the thing to remember, that that goes back to what I was saying about us reasoning in our minds. We may believe this is the way we should go and all that, but the energy is saying, no, 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 you have a higher calling than that. I'm going to close that door there, but there's going to be a bigger door that's open, to you. And that's what Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone talked about in their book, and Napoleon
And
Hill
so
talked
many
about it.
others.
Yeah, it says,
Dino, right?
yeah.
Zig
Mm.
Ziglar. That's
Oh,
just to
yeah.
name a couple. And
Mm.
brilliant, absolutely
There's,
brilliant.
yeah, and they're all saying the same thing. When a door closes, the little hinges will open up bigger doors and a greater benefit. And just,
Right.
my goodness, so why worry about it?
So if we all look back in our own lives, Jim, and we
Mhm.
think, okay, I remember in high school being just head over heels in love with this boy. And that was my path, and we were going to get married and have the white picket fence. And that door closed for a reason,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe at that time, at 17, 18, I didn't understand it,
Mhm.
but I
Oh, no.
sure understood it later.
Oh,
And
yeah.
boy, was I thankful that door closed.
Yeah. I can say the same thing. When I went to service, I was really in love with this girl and we're going to get married and all that. And of course, being away from home and absence and all that and being young, we just drifted apart. And probably both of us, to be honest with you, looking back at each other, we probably said we were blessed to go our separate ways. And I mean that in a positive way, because
Right.
she found a guy that was a better fit for her, and I found a woman that's a better fit for me. And that's not saying anything negative, but when you're going through that, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
and you
It's
and you're
not.
wondering, how can I fix this when it's not fixable?
Right. Well, it's like I know that there's been, and it goes with anything. And the reason I bring up these different case scenarios
Mhm.
is because it gives us an idea of where worry can come in. Worry can sneak in some dang stupid places.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
what if I've been in the kitchen and everyone knows I love to cook, I love to bake. And I've done something to a recipe and think, oh, crap, what have I done? This is just going to be a hot mess now. And I'm like, well, I'm already in it. It's closer to being done than not. So let me think, okay, how can I alter this? Say I put too much of something in or what have you. And so then I get out of the space of it's ruined and look at the idea of what opportunity do I have
Hmm. Yeah.
to learn from this. And
Mhm.
you know what? I can honestly tell you, I've never scraped a meal in the trash.
Oh, yeah. And some of the stuff she'll put in the freezer waiting for me to come over, she'll serve it to me. So I got
Actually,
to teach you on that.
I do freeze food. I do make extra and freeze
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for us right now, for everybody to be conservative, to freeze food, to prepare, because and that's good. That's good advice. anytime across the board, anywhere in the world, because you got to be good stewards of what you've been blessed with. You really
Right.
do. And, Donna, a lot of people, we've talked about this too, and people, we get stuck in our physical bodies. We can't see the big picture
Right.
because we're trapped inside. And the physical is very, very limited. Plus, as we've said before on the air many times, what can your mind bring up when you start thinking?
Oh, it can bring up everything.
Yeah. And what does it focus on, though? The past, the future? It can
Yeah.
only bring up the past.
The past.
Your mind is nothing but a big rear view mirror that's got you consumed,
Right.
and you can get lost in there,
Mm.
get caught up in there.
You get so caught up in the gears
Hmm.
going around
Yeah.
that excuse me, you don't see the fact that you're actually caught in the gear,
Right.
right? And so that can be really, really scary if
Hmm.
we're not cognizant of where
Hmm.
we're at.
Yeah. Let's build on that a little bit because there's a lot of people that get into a relationship, I'll say, and it could be with someone or in a business relationship. The principles are the same, and they get caught up in the process, and they don't realize that they're trapped,
Right.
and they don't realize they're living in stress, and they don't realize that they're trying as hard as they can, but it's like pushing a chain uphill. And
Mhm.
many times they do not realize it until after they get out of that situation and take inventory of themselves and give thanks and say, I'm going to love myself first. And
Right.
if I'm lonely, that means I need to love myself right now, you know? But
Right.
then after the dust settles, guess what happens? And Donna knows this very well, and I do too. You're like, why did I put up with all that junk? You know, I mean, really,
Yep. Yep.
because if you're living with if you're got a girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever,
You're not.
uh, and they're not loving you and appreciating you, like I tell guys, when it comes to your ladies, treat her like a princess in public and a sweetheart at home,
Yep.
because that's the best advice I can give them, and because it's very simple. Because you treat a lady in public like a princess, you're showing her respect. You demonstrate she's the only one in your life. You treat her like a sweetheart at home. Guess what? She's going to be good to you. You take her off in public, you're going to do some hard time in the hacienda, son. You better learn how to cook, boil water, or do something because you may go to bed hungry. But
Well, and it goes both ways. But
mhm,
I think for me, if we can go back and touch a little bit on the loneliness,
yeah, sure.
I think it is for me, and maybe for you out there, it is a time if you're in that sphere of loneliness in your life. I had to look into it. I had to dive right deep into the center of it
Hmm.
and find out why. Why am I lonely? I have people all around me. Why am I lonely? What is going on?
Hmm.
Because until you can find where your disconnect is from yourself,
Hmm.
nothing on the outside is ever going to fix the loneliness on the inside.
Not at all. And that's well said, Donna. That's very well said. You got to troubleshoot yourself and see where you're shorting out your
Mhm.
energy. And that is so crystal clear because people who have strong faith in their lives, and I've got strong faith in my life. And, when I went in for the surgery, you guys have heard this story before, but I was just saying, I was kind of like, well, just like going to the barbershop to get a haircut or something. I was just, thank you. We
Right.
have this facility. Thank you for the doctors. Thank you for, you know, the nurses. Anything that popped in my mind, I was just giving thanks for because I knew I was going to be okay. I was coming from a very safe and secure place. And that dominoed on me because
Mm.
after the surgery, the nurses says, we've never seen anybody move like you. because you're getting up moving, because most people just be able to walk to the door the first time you go down the hall and come back. And, I told her, I said, well, you got to consider one thing. She said, what's that? I said, well, I'm kind of dumb. Maybe I didn't know the difference, but it all comes from the positive energy of the universe when you have faith. That takes care of a lot of the nonsense in this world, because a lot of people out there, you're worried, you're stressed out, you're worn down.
Right.
You deserve so much more than that. You're entitled to so much more than that. You really
Right.
are.
And what I can tell you from my personal journey, folks, is that when I consistently worried about every little thing that came across in the world of my life or my kids' lives or what have you, compounding that with the process of living, all the stresses that we have from day-to-day life, and then there was my health, and some of my children had some health issues. It became a lot, and because of that worry, it wore me down to the bone.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's when the depression came in.
Mhm.
And I was so caught up in the vortex, the tornado, the eye of it, that I didn't see it. And one of my best friends in the whole world said, girl, we've got to do something. And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, we got to get you out of this depression. And I'm
Yeah.
like, depressed? But there was just everything that could be that had happened in such a short period in my life. And it was hard to process. And so I didn't process it. I just kept existing. But once I took it in and dove right into the middle of it and started to process it, you know what? I'm fine. I don't get lonely. I don't, I can go outside and just listen to the birds or watch them, or at night.
Oh, yeah.
We have a family of geckos. I don't use pest control at my house. We have a family of geckos that literally their little house is in my attic. There's a little corner of the eave, where there's a little teeny hole, and you watch them come in and out of there. So, I've got a whole bunch of geckos that live up there. And then I've got the lizards on the wall, and they take care of all the bugs. I can go out there and be perfectly fine with that.
Oh, yeah. You charge them rent, or you let them live there free?
They're doing such a fine job at keeping the critter control down.
You almost owe them money, huh?
I do.
You've heard me share the story about, you hear the birds singing, and even they will sing in the middle of a drought. Can you imagine if birds had news coverage like we did during the drought?
Right.
They'd probably hear things like, experts say if it rained today, it'll still be 6 months before we have any food, or this and that. That's what depresses people. You listen to stuff like that and the nonsense like that, and you don't have the faith in yourself and the faith in the universe that you will be taken care of. You will be fed if you believe, if you search out. Because this next thing that Esther Hicks said, and I love this here, the basis of life is freedom. You owe that to yourself to be free on the inside, free from guilt, free from worry, and you can do this. This is not some pipe dream.
Right.
Because the purpose of life is to live in joy and have abundance. And the result of that is pure growth. And that can be financial growth, but more importantly, it be growth where you can bless others and help others in their hour of need, because you know people, we all know people who struggle with their happiness, their joy, their peace of mind. You're entitled to that.
Right.
And if you're in a situation where someone's telling you you're not, you need to get out of there. That's not your place. I mean, I know that sounds hard. I know that sounds kind of difficult, but the truth of it is, I'm going to say it. You were not created to live on planet Earth in a living hell.
Right.
You just weren't supposed to live there. And if you allow yourself to remain there, you are choosing to enslave yourself. I don't know why I felt compelled to say that, but maybe there might be one person out there that needs to hear that. And
I think understanding how when we do an internal check on ourselves, Jim,
Mhm.
understanding how we, and truly looking at it, how we are processing the negativity in our life is essential. So,
Yeah.
pardon me, I read up on current events, and a lot of them kind of tick me off, but I also put a block on it that I can't let it go any further.
Mhm.
I read it so I am aware of what's going on, why it's going on, but
Mhm.
I do not let it poison me.
Oh no.
So there's the difference. I don't let it in so far that it poisons everything about me that
Mhm.
is good and vibrant and full of love. Because
Oh yeah.
once we do that, whether it's something you're watching or a person, been there, done that too, once we do that and we let that poison come in, it starts as just a little pinprick. And pretty
Mhm.
soon it spreads throughout the rest of us.
Yeah.
And then we end up, like you said, in a living hell.
Mhm. And plus, also, anything that we take in, good or bad, is
Right.
going to vibrate outward because we are a vibration. And scientists have proven that. I mean, we vibrate energy all the time. We really do. I've seen this in our house. When we leave and go away for a few hours, or maybe a day or so, come back, the house has kind of a cold feeling to it and emptiness because all the energy that's in that house is gone because we were not there. I don't know if you've noticed that, Donna, or not, but I have in this house. And
I I have noticed in most places I lived, especially when I lived in like an apartment way back in the day, and I could tell when um, the maintenance people would come in and change the filters,
mhm,
because that was part of their deal that they had to change the air filters and such. And I'd be like, "Oh, the air's been changed.
mhm,
It's their
yeah,
energy." Right?
mhm,
And I could feel the difference between my energy and the piece of the house
yeah,
and when somebody else's energy came in and
mhm,
interrupted it.
yeah. You definitely you definitely can feel that.
Hmm.
And we feel it in this house here. Now, the house doesn't have any type of spirit in it or anything like that. I mean, I tease people and tell people that I didn't know my house was possessed or haunted until after I retired because I'd sit down my coffee cup, or I think I'd set it down and go looking for it, couldn't find it. So I go get another cup of coffee. And 2 hours later, I find it in the garage. I ain't been in the garage.
Right? Right?
Because a
Oh
lot of
my
times when I'm thinking I'm walking, I'm getting my exercise in. But there's a lot of truth in that about the energy because, I mean, a lot of truth. It is the truth. If you take in negative energy, you're going to automatically vibrate out negative energy. I mean, you give perfect example. If someone's full of negative energy and you see them come in the door, it's broadcasting in it, Donna. You can see it from their face and everything.
yeah. Yeah, I have said for many, many years, your energy will walk through that door before you do.
Hmm. Absolutely. And Donna's a specialist at how to free yourself from what's blocking your energy because in her life story, a, she had to find an answer for her because she had an aneurysm, 3 brain surgeries, and it was about 2 years for her to complete a sentence because her tongue and her brain was just couldn't coordinate together.
There was a disconnect.
Yeah. And when Donna found her answer, she says, "Hey, I could help others." And just email Donna there at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com, and she will give you a 30-minute complimentary consultation on what's blocking your energy because
Absolutely.
she's very good at that. She really is. And be sure and get in touch with her. And also another comment here is that Esther Hicks made, and you can go to Esther Hicks. Let me get the website here. I'll tell you what it is. It's come on now, Abraham dash dash Hicks HICKS.com, and you might want to go there and check them out because she mentions here that the basis of life is freedom. I just read that. Here we go. People are creators. They create their own thoughts, their attention, and their frequency. See, we've been talking about energy. Energy is a frequency. It really is. And we create all of that. That's why we can choose to be happy. We can choose to be sad. As the old saying goes, when you see the glass half full, is it half full or half empty?
Right.
And just depends on your attitude, but we're in charge of that. That's how specially created we are. And we need to own that, don't we, Donna?
We absolutely need to own it, because when you understand that you have ownership of how you are living your life and not worrying, having good energy, you know what it gives you? Power over yourself.
That's right.
You have the power to determine how your day is going to proceed.
Yeah.
You know, once I understood that, and I teach that in my course, once I understood that, and I used to have one of the worst tempers I think God ever created on this earth. And I really don't have that kind of temper anymore. I mean, you would have to go after my own, you know, my family, my blood, my close circle, for my temper to come out. Things just don't bother me anymore. You know why? Because I own it, and it's not worth it. It is not.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because when we think about we're in charge of our life, we all know, no one has to explain to us that in the physical body, we're weak. Look how many times that we kind of like, no, we shouldn't do that. I'm going to use something very generic and basic everybody understands. If you're trying to lose weight and you know you're not supposed to eat a piece of chocolate cake, and there's a piece of chocolate cake over there or chocolate cake over there, you go, well, just one piece, you're going to fall into it. That is serving the physical. But the higher calling in your life that is fuel from the energy, from the what I call the senior in the sky, that's how you take control of your life. Denying yourself. Yes, because once you deny yourself and once you say no to yourself, you're saying yes to life. You're saying yes to who you are, because you were created to last forever. We know the body's not going to make it. Graveyards prove that left and right. But I mean, it's, don't cheat yourself out of the life that you're entitled to. That's what I want to say there, because go ahead. You got a thought on your mind.
I do. Worrying is really, at its simplest and most simplistic form, you are borrowing or bringing up something that 99.9% of the time isn't even going to happen.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
So you're letting that into your life, and then that time frame that you worry about it, say you worry about it for 4 hours. That 4 hours is now at the forefront with this worry, and nothing else can get done properly. No proper energy can get through, because you've got worry right here.
That's right. And another comment here I want to mention here, because this is so true. We've talked about this on previous shows, but whatever people can imagine clearly with emotion, by creating a perfect vibrational match, is theirs to be, or to do, or to have, to own. Now, in the book, this book here, I keep it close to me. It's about halfway. It needs a Purple Heart or medal or something. You can see it's very old and worn and all that. But in there, they talk about, the things you can do in front of a mirror. If you're not feeling too well, you're not sick or anything like that, just kind of like, about life, to get up and say, I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. And each time take that emotion up higher and higher and higher, put more energy into it. That's what this lady here, Esther Hicks, is talking about when she says, People can imagine clearly with emotion by creating the perfect vibrational match. It's theirs to be, to do, and to have and to own. And that type of message is the same thing you find in this book here. It's the same thing you find there in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Mm.
So all these people are said, like Donna said earlier, we're saying the same thing. And all we got to do is just wake up, love ourselves. That is the starting point of all achievement.
Well, and you need to find which one resonates for you, right?
Yeah.
Because we can read something and it doesn't resonate with us.
hmm
We can read something from somebody else and it sort of resonates. And
Yeah.
then maybe we read something
Mm.
that's really the same way. They've just changed some of the words, right?
Oh, yeah.
And boom, we have an epiphany.
Oh, yeah.
The
Because
light bulbs
Donna,
go on, the clouds part, and then it
yeah,
goes ding, makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like when a comedian's telling a joke. Some people can tell a joke, and some people can't.
Right,
But that's why we talk a lot about the 7 levels of truth by Mr. Bill Heinrich, a good friend of ours. This book here, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. I have the Think and Grow Rich. This here, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Something in there can resonate with you. And like I say, if you're in a country that does not allow YouTube to be played there, you can't do a search online in a search engine. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's available in a PDF form. You can download it, and it is
right.
word for word what is recorded on that YouTube video. Because some people like to read, some people like to watch videos, and so you can cover both things right there.
Right.
But the bottom line is, who was it? Abraham Lincoln says he has been his observation that people make up their minds to be about as happy as they want to be. And I'm paraphrasing that maybe a little bit, but that was the gist of what he said.
Right.
And that is so true because you make up your own mind on how happy you want to be. You really can.
Well, and when we do that, we have to understand the part we play in it, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We are the
hmm
star actor, right? We are the lead role in our life. So what role do you want to give your own self? Do you want to give yourself the role of, the constant negative negative Nancy, if you will,
Oh, yeah.
right? The Debbie Downer,
hmm
the Karen in our
Oh,
life,
yeah.
right? Or do you want to give yourself, who you are?
Yeah.
You want to open up and own your portion in it
hmm
and say, okay, this is ridiculous. This is not serving me. And I'm
hmm
not happy. And so I
Yeah.
need to change that.
hmm
And once you can do that and you change it, then
hmm
guess what? You're going to find your freedom from worry,
hmm
from all the little things that will get you down.
hmm
And then you only save worry for those big ones, right? For the
hmm
big things that come along,
hmm
when somebody's sick, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and you'll find that you have your energy and
Yes.
you're happy
Yes. Yeah.
because you're getting freedom away from worry.
hmm Exactly right. And that's been proven many, many times, many people's lives. Uh, Even inmates in prison have changed their lives from being negative and thinking physical,
Right.
and looking to a higher source and realizing that they're much more than a heartbeat in their veins or a breath in their lungs. They are a soul with a body.
Right.
And that's the priority right there. It really is. And Donna, we're already out of time.
We are out of time, Jim.
Mm.
So that is kind of sad. That's
hmm
kind of sad. But, we want to wish everyone a beautiful day wherever you are. And here in America, may you have a blessed 4th of July and more importantly, a very safe 4th of July.
Amen. Amen to that. And most importantly, be sure and say, today I'm going to set myself free. I'm going to start that journey. No one can stop you because in your mind, you're in control. And the starting point of that is love yourself. If you're lonely, if you're depressed, if you're suffering from anxiety, focus on loving yourself first.
Right.
Don't look for an outside thing to solve your problem. It's internal. You got to own it. You got to deal with it. There's no pill that can fix things.
Right.
People go to the doctor all the time. Give me a pill to help me lose weight. You need to adjust your diet first. That's the starting point of losing weight, is to adjust your diet. And
The starting point, actually, before you hit that, is adjusting yourself up here.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You have
And
to adjust yourself mentally
mhm,
to get where you
yeah.
want to be physically.
Oh, yeah. You're exactly right, Donna. Thank you. And it is so important to love yourself first, because that is the starting point of all achievement in life. Joy, jubilee, everything that you want in life starts with love, and it's about loving yourself first. And remember, this is not egotistical, but it's truth that you are entitled to the abundance of the universe. I mean,
Yeah.
just check out that YouTube video. The strangest secret by Earl Nightingale says, "Whatever you ask of the universe, it can't deny you." And the first time I heard that, I'm going like, "Really?" Shows you how smart I am. But it's true. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking this whole week about freedom from worry and things of this nature. We're going to be talking about different topics. And most importantly, be sure and share this show with someone that you know that could benefit from it. And also, on behalf of Donna, thank you so much for watching our show. We're one of the top shows on E360 TV, and we're very, very grateful. We're very, very thankful for that. We appreciate it. And it's only because of you, and we're here for you. So thank you so very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye, folks.